I was pretty well into my 60s before I was ever around any milking goats. Well, I found that by raising just a few LaMancha dairy goats, you can get a lot of great milk. So here's one way to milk 2 goats. Okay, girls, it's time for the morning milking. Get everything set up here. Butch is always here to help. We've got the milking equipment here. That includes a suction pump. 2 settings on it. One of them is continuous, the other one pulses. And that's what gets the milk flowing into this bucket. It's a food grade stainless steel. It's all sealed up from just fresh out of the dishwasher. And some people get the idea of a 2-goat dairy. They picture some guy with hairy knuckles and a big rusty bucket. Well, we're going to let the machine do all the work here and keep everything sealed up until we get indoors. I understand that milk's biggest enemy is being exposed to the air, and the less air exposure, the fresher the milk, and that's what we're after here. All right, pump is ready to roll. Let's go ahead and load up little feeder bucket here. And we have 2 goats to work with today. We have Cookie and Allie. And they're going to take turns on the milking stand. And this is Allie, who wants to go first. She's going to go right up the step, put her head in here, and that's the way it's supposed to go. These aren't real big animals, but not like a big cow would be. Still got to maintain control of them, and this one needs to be milked. But we're kind of a team at this. Butch even helps out. He's here for moral support, I suppose. And we'll see what we can get going here. About done here. Good girl. Good, real good. All right, now this is the switcheroo part where we go get the other goat. And sometimes this works better than others. Come on back out of here. Good girl. Come on, Allie. Here, come on. Come on. Get you back in first. Now this is Cookie, and she likes to just get up there on her own. Okay, come on. Let's get in here right. Yeah, there you go. Good girl. I'll pay off. Hang on. I didn't forget. This is Cookie. She's just a little bit smaller, but she's a really good dairy goat. This variety is called LaMancha. And the thing that's kind of unique about the LaMancha breed is that they have little or no ears. So some of the Nubian goats and different varieties have extremely large ears, but not the LaManchas. Okay, let's go with goat number 2. Come on, Butch, help us out. Get her going. There, starting to hit the bucket. Good boy. You always show up at the right time, don't you? He's our milk buddy. Yeah. You all through? You all done? I think so. It gets all the milk out of the line and into the bucket. We'll take pump apparatus apart, and we'll leave the bucket all sealed up till we get indoors. And this is the kind of thing you don't really want to expose to the air in the barn area. So we'll put this all up and back in the container and sort this out once we get indoors. Now it's time to put Cookie back. Good girl, Cookie. Oh, here's another helper. How about that? What do you think, Ziggy? Come on. Right back in there. Good girl. You. Okay, for the next step in the operation, we got to prepare the filter. There's a lot of solids that are in raw milk that this eliminates, and that's part of the grading process. When milk is graded, it's a combination of the milk fat content and the solid content. The milk content has to be up to a certain point and the solid content below a certain point for it to grade extremely high. So we're not sure how this is going to grade, but this is our system of doing our best of doing farm to table. Good example of it is the goat milk. All right, let's open up our container and we'll take all the hoses off, since we're in a much better environment than in the barn. This is our collection bucket, and you might be surprised what it contains. All right, it's full to about right here. Which is quite a bit of milk, and these two girls have been averaging somewhere in the 4 quart a day range, but this will remove any solids or any remnants of the barn that might have found its way in here is going to get extracted by this milk filter. It's a specialized milk filter, and this goes through the sterilization process every day like all the other equipment. It's about as fresh as it gets right there. These are 2-quart mason jars. We normally use quart jars, but just about all of those are in circulation right now. We need to get them back so we can refill them from some of the families that have decided to make the switch to goat milk. And people ask me a lot about the taste of it. As how is it different? I said, well, it's like farm milk. If you've ever had cow's milk directly from the farm, this is very similar to that, with some of the qualities that raw milk has over pasteurized and homogenized milk. Those are 2 steps that have to be done to put milk in the supply chain and have it sometimes 30 days from the time it's drawn until it's completely consumed. This milk does not have the shelf life of homogenized and pasteurized milk, but we're real careful with the way that we get it so it's not contaminated with anything bad, and we use it properly. We date every jar that we fill, and we're going to get the lid on this just as soon as possible. But we've got about 2 quarts here, and not quite 2 quarts to go. We'll be maybe just under 4 quarts today. That's my guess. But as far as the taste goes, there's a lot of great taste to this milk, and I tell people that it's easier to find and a lot sweeter than chicken milk. The goats you saw in the barn, Cookie and Allie, are about 1.5 years, almost, yeah, a little bit, about 1.5 years old, and this is the first time that they've been bred, and they each had 1 baby this year. And they're weaned now and been separated, and that's how we're able to milk the mothers. And we're told that if you milk them every day like we do, that they could stay fresh for up to 2 years or longer, and continue giving up to 1 gallon of milk between the 2 every day. All right, that one's pretty full. Let's go ahead and get this other one started and get the lid on this one as quickly as possible. And we'll put a date on that lid. And there's 2 quarts. And we'll get some more strain in here. And you can see some of the solids are getting caught in that filter, and it's not emptying out as quickly as the first round did. But we think that's a necessary step to give the quality that we're looking for. It's legal in Kansas now for us to sell this unpasteurized raw goat's milk and unhomogenized directly from the farm. Now, with its perishability, it's super fresh, but doesn't last a month like store-bought milk does. But you need to know that the process of homogenization and pasteurization removes a lot of the nutrients and a lot of the taste out of milk. And people who have tried raw farm milk, whether it be from cows or from goats, that's how they know the difference. There's also some ingredients in this milk that is much higher than the store-bought milk. One of the readings is melatonin, natural melatonin in milk. And store-bought milk has some in it, but raw milk contains much higher levels of melatonin. And some big bowl of ice cream just before bedtime puts me right to sleep. We've got one recipe we call knockout vanilla for that very reason. All right, I'm not going to quite fill this one, but we got more. Well, we got 3 full quarts out of this one and part of another, and we'll probably later transfer this into a quart jar size for distribution. But for today's purposes, we're putting them in the big jars. And when we first got into this, I had no idea how much milk you might expect from 2 small to medium-sized goats. But this is what we're getting, and we're pretty pleased about it. Goat's milk doesn't separate like raw cow's milk does. You get a little bit of really good milk fat at the top if the jar sits for a day or two. But you can easily just shake up the jar and it equally distributes all the fat. And a lot of people who can't drink cow's milk do just fine with the goat's milk. So this is pretty warm right now, coming right out of the goats, and so we're going to get the lid on this real quickly and get them dated and right into the refrigerator. And it'll take a good part of the day to get this down to in the 40-degree range. But that's what keeps it fresh, and we kept the air away from it. And as soon as it gets a little chilled out, it's going to be ready to enjoy. Goat milk tastes great by itself, and the homemade ice cream is even better. If you've watched this long, I hope you've learned something about milking 2 goats.